We don't talk about game engines too much on the podcast, and we probably should get into a deep dive about game engines and how the business of them works. But one engine got into the news this week, and that's Unity. And it got into the news not because of their capabilities technology wise. It's because their boss said a no, essentially. John Riccitello, former CEO of EA, who is now the CEO of Unity, basically had a interview. I forget what website. I should have checked, but he had an interview with a website. I think it was pocketgamer.net, I think it was.
Yeah, I believe it was Pocket Gamer.
Okay. And he talked a bunch about things about the industry, but this one quote got this one thing he said is what caused all the problems. Basically, he said, and I'll paraphrase, developers who are not monetizing their games are fucking idiots. He then a day later, walked it back, sort of, and apologized and said that he would do better when it comes to, well, whatever it meant. I don't know exactly what he meant by do better, but anyway, Zero, you mentioned this to me when it happened. What were your thoughts about John Riccitello's quotes about developers who don't monetize their games?
Well, this wasn't really a good look, considering that on July 13th, Unity had announced that they would be merging with Iron Source. And this is probably going to sound like me speaking with my IT worker cap, but Iron Source has been known to be just an absolutely wretched company. Just they make really, really deceptive programs that will the type that you would probably bump into every once in a while from like a bad site covered in spyware and shit, where it probably tells you that you've got a virus on your computer and you need to install this program and buy this needless subscription to make sure that your computer's protected, while it's just not doing anything but just bilking you for cash.
Mm-hmm.
So Iron Source has not really had a great reputation, but apparently the purchase was, or the merger was motivated because of the fact that Iron Source has some user analytics that apparently John Riccitello thinks would be useful to Unity. So it was bad enough that that purchase happened, and you have a whole bunch of indie developers going, wow, you're merging with a malware company? I'm not sure I really want to continue developing in Unity anymore. And then here we are with this Pocket Gamer interview, and when I had read this part of the interview, I was just floored by this. So the question that Pocket Gamer had asked during the interview was, implementing monetization earlier in the process and conversation is certainly an angle that has seen some pushback from some developers. Mm-hmm. And he replies with, Ferrari and some of the other high-end car manufacturers still use clay in carving knives. It's a small portion of the gaming industry that works that way, and some of these people are my favorite people in the world to fight with. They are the most beautiful and pure, brilliant people. They're also some of the biggest fucking idiots. So he says that, and then he goes into just basically just why developers should be monetizing, and if they're not monetizing, they're basically leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
And it was just really, really bad because, of course, some high-profile developers who did use Unity to develop their games, notably Ben Esposito of Angel Matrix, the guy behind Donut County, and the more recent release of Neon White. He had made Apple's Donut County in Unity back in 2018, and then pretty much he kind of fired back at Riccitello's little quote saying, but according to their CEO, I'm a big fucking idiot for not making Whole.io a free-to-play, not making Whole.io the free-to-play game that ripped off my game Donut County.
Yeah.
And for those not familiar, Whole.io had a whole bunch of really scummy monetizations while ripping off the Donut County idea. But yeah, just when I saw this quote, I was like, ooh, wow, holy shit. How about saying the quiet part out loud? Why don't you?
And it's funny how he, in order to couch, because he knew he was, when he said, before he said the quote, he was going to say something that was going to piss people off. And he couched the quote in what I think he thought was a good thing. Like, Ferrari, was it Ferrari still makes their cars with clay and
Clay and knives.
clay and knives, which is a backwards compliment because it's basically saying, yeah, people do outdated things too that are not really cost effective, which is fine, I guess. Is pretty much what he was saying. But when I heard the quote, like, it was really saying, you're right. It was saying the quiet part out loud, but on the other hand, it also sounded like, God damn it, these people could be making me more money, and they're choosing not to, is what it sounded like to me. Because and we don't know the business practices and the contracts that they give out to Unity developers when it comes to making their games. But the way it sounded like to me was Riccitello was annoyed that there are some developers who are honestly making good games, but if they would just monetize it the way that others do, he could make more money off those games. It wasn't it wasn't really I'm being a good guy by telling you you're leaving money off the table. It is, you could be making more money for me if you would actually just do this with my engine, and you're not doing it. So that's where it sounded more along the lines of frustration than it really sounded like a guy who was basically saying, guys, you could make more money. I'm just saying, I'm your old pal Riccitello, So when I read that quote, I was like, ugh. He's not happy with some people, which I doubt this is going to lead to him losing customers or losing developers, really. Because from what I know of Unity, it's a very robust and very flexible engine, especially for mobile developers. Because I don't see them mobile developers saying, "Oh, that's it, I'm going to Epic." Like, they're not going to do that. They're gonna go ahead.
The problem with Unity has been that they've basically sort of been chasing the fame that Epic has in all the wrong ways, and not listening to their developer community about features that should be in Unity but are not. Because when I was kind of poking around the independent developer community, a lot of people in those communities had said, just when I find an engine that works better than Unity, fuck this. I'm getting the fuck out of Unity. I'm porting my project to something else. I don't fucking care if I have to start the fuck over in a brand new engine. If I can give the finger to Riccitello and say, fuck you for saying that all of us who choose not to monetize are basically idiots, then yeah, have fun when you have nobody to develop on your engine. And then there was talk that there was a major feature project that was in the form of a game that the internal Unity team was developing, and it was going to showcase all the cool stuff that the engine can do and be sort of like a showcase piece for any developers who are trying to consider engines on which one they would go to. And I believe that project has been canceled, which isn't great because that also sort of fed into the lack of confidence from a lot of the indie developers going, wow, so this showcase project to show all the possible stuff we can do with Unity, you're just gonna fucking pull the plug and kill it? Wow, that's a real fucking shame.
So what do you mean, like, they killed it? They basically said that it's not worth the time, or is this one of those, well, because we pissed people off, we're not gonna, like... I'm not understanding exactly.
I think it was. They were just like. I'm trying to remember. I may have to dig it up real quick. But I believe it was just. fact that they ended up just pulling the plug on the project because they didn't think the money was worth it to continue on with this project, even though this would have been sort of something to show the world, hey, here's all the cool stuff Unity can do, and I believe it showcased some of the features that devs had been complaining about, saying, hey, we want Unity to be able to do all this new stuff. And this would have been the one project to show it off.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they just pulled the plug because they were just like, yeah, we don't see the money in it. And so, yeah, it's just been really, really strange with all of the stuff that's been going on. And Unity also purchased Weta Workshops because they wanted to get into the movie industry, kind of like how Unreal Engine's being used in some movie productions to do CG work and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just Unity hasn't really been in a great place currently, and just it's more this quote and the merger with Iron Source has just been nothing short of a clusterfuck.
Yeah, apparently you're saying their business practices has not been too great when it comes to expansion. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they just seem like that they've just been sort of spreading themselves way too thin in hopes that they can try to capitalize on what Epic's doing, especially the Weta Workshops purchase. That one was really strange. I was just like, okay, I get it. Weta Workshops, super big prop shop for Hollywood and everything. I get it, but you guys really need to focus on your business stuff because it's all over the goddamn place. And of course, just here we are. Oh, well, we need metrics because Unreal's got some fantastic metrics tracking. Unity needs that too.
Huh. Okay, so they're Me Tooing everything, is basically.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, that's what it was. Gigaya, the Unity in-house project. That's what it was named.
Okay. Unity, is it the number one mobile development kit, or is it like what are the other mobile development kits? Because I know Unity has had some. They've had some console games. So, but I know Unity is.
Recently, the Klonoa HD collection was actually completely built in Unity.
Okay. I mean, I'm not saying that they don't do development on consoles. I know they do, but it's more often I see Unity on game engines when it comes to mobile than I do with console development. That's more Unreal and more Sprite Kit and stuff like that. See, here's the thing. I know these developers are pissed and they feel insulted for the boss of Unity to say that, but do they have other places to go? I mean, are they really gonna they're gonna eat the costs of getting another engine and redoing their entire assets just because the boss said something stupid? I don't see that. I hear a lot of them saying they're going to, which a lot of people tend to do when they're angry. But I think most of them will deep down look at their bottom line and will say, I can't afford to do this, so for now I gotta stay with Unity. And then Unity should come in and say, hey, I know we fucked up, we're sorry. How about we redo the contract and we give you better terms. We give you, let's say, we knock off 2% of the fees when it comes to your next game or whatever, like something like that. Like they need to do, I guess, an apology tour to their biggest company, the biggest companies that use their engines, and pretty much say, yeah, we fucked up, we're sorry. So here's a little thank you for having business with us. Please stick with us. We're sorry, and just smooth things over from there. I think that's what we're gonna basically see. We're probably not gonna see because it's gonna be kept quiet, but I think that's what's gonna end up happening is Developers are going to say, yeah, I'd like to, but I can't because that's just not feasible when it comes to my business. And then, or Unity comes in and says, hey, we fucked up. Here, let's just redo our terms. We'll make it better for you so you can stay. I think that's what's going to end up happening.
Yeah, I know most of the studios that have said that they're just completely jumping off of Unity have mostly been independent studios.
Yeah. And I can understand that, but don't these development kits cost money to actually, or are these one of those you get them free, but when you release the game, they get a percentage of your sales?
So with Unity, I believe it's I'm not 100% sure on this. I'd have to really take a look at it, but I think the cost of entry is really low. But if you become like a like multi-million copy seller, then at that point they sort of kind of renegotiate the terms and say, "Hey, so your game just kind of skyrocketed to stardom and you've made all this cash. How about we talk a little bit more serious about, just a more serious sort of partnership and everything." And
Okay.
at that point, the price increases. But I know a lot of the independent studios that I have seen making a fuss about this have said that they are looking towards Unreal, because Unreal, they do provide pretty much a model where you get the development kit for free, but if you hit a certain sales benchmark, then they charge you a certain amount, and then once you hit to the multi-million sort of portion, then they start talking in the percentages and things like that.
I wonder how they actually get those metrics, because if it's a company that is not publicly traded or not required to actually share your sales, how are they going to get those metrics? Like that's a question I have. I'm at the Unity store right now, and I'm looking at plans and pricing. Individual for students and personal use, it's free, and they have You have a Unity Learn, which is a learning on-demand learning platform. For teams, if you get Unity Plus, it's $400 a year per seat. So I guess that's per person, I think. I might
Yeah.
be wrong. Or you can get Unity Pro, which is $1,800 a year per seat, and it has all these perks like customization of the splash screen, the latest version of Unity, which I would hope that you'd get that with any version, but okay. Priority customer service, cloud diagnostics, over 300 hours of personal training available, custom options, technical support, and then if you're a large corporation, it's $2,500 a year for industrial collection per seat. And then for enterprise, which is for a much larger corporation or organization, it's $4,000 a month per 20 seats. I'm looking at this, and let's say you are a small development studio that I guess has 10 employees. You're spending $18,000 a year on Unity Pro, which you're going to get Unity Pro if you're going to do this right. And then if it costs, let's say, 3 years to develop your game, that's $54,000. So like I said, I don't see like a small studio looking at their numbers going, we just sunk $54,000 into this development thing. Am I really going to throw it all away because John Riccitello was an asshole? I don't see that happening. Maybe after they're done and they make their sales and everything, they could go and do that. But by that point, I can see like Unity coming in and say, hey, those are the rates that we advertise, but we could give you better rates. Why don't we do X rate for this amount of years for this amount of seats and then go there? Why don't we do that? And then the whole thing is wiped off clean. I mean, I get that people are insulted and pissed by this, but I hate to tell this to you, but when you deal in business, there's people who are assholes. And the best thing you can do is utilize them being an asshole by saying, yeah, I don't like what you said. Therefore, I don't think I want to use your business anymore unless you make it worth my while. That's the smart thing to do. Not to be like, oh, I'm just throwing this away. Like, no, you improve your deal, you improve your terms, and then go from there. I think that's what smart studios are going to do, is going to look at this and go, hey, you know what? I don't like what you said. It's clear that you're not supportive of my needs, so I'm going elsewhere. Like, whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
We're very supportive of what you do. You don't pay no attention to what he said. He was wrong in that, and we agree with you there. So why don't we do this? Why don't we, instead of making it $2,400 a seat, why don't we do $2,000 a seat? How's that? We appreciate your business. We appreciate what you do with our engine. Let us show more how we appreciate you. $2,000 a seat. How's that sound? Great. Thanks. And there you go. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, that, or I imagine Unreal's probably reaching out to some of these high-profile Unity developers and are like, "Hey, how about first year dev is free, and yeah, just ditch the zero, get with a hero, and then of course just some of these studios just making the jump, just because someone from Epic got real clever and kind of made a nice little sweetheart deal to just get out of using Unity. So I would imagine that there's probably stuff like that happening behind the scenes, but any of the studios that do have the luxury of just immediately dropping and swapping over, I imagine either they're real small and haven't put too much money into Unity, or excuse me, or they have the money and luxury to be able to just ditch Unity and just go, nope, fuck this, we're just going to go to another engine, and that's going to be it.
Right, and if you're the latter, you don't say a damn thing, and then you play hardball with both Unity and with Epic, and you say to Unity, I don't like what you said, and I got developers who are not happy with what you said, so we have to leave just to save face. And then they pull out all the business stops and start lowering the cost and making the incentives a lot better for you. And that's what you do. You don't go on Twitter and just spout out like that. As, oh, I'm going to puff up my chest and say, no, you don't do that. If you're smart with business, you threaten to do it and then say to the people, that the person who did wrong, yeah, I'm not happy, so we're going elsewhere. Unless you make it worth my while. And then you be smart and you do that. You don't spout out, because once you spout out, then you're going to have the other one saying, okay, if they're going to do it, let's just wait, because they're just going to go to our platform anyway. So why should we? So, yeah. But you're right. If it's people, and if it's the former, Unity's not going to care. They're going to be like, oh, well, they're small potatoes who either haven't made a lot of sales or are just starting, so we didn't lose much. If it's the big ones, Unity will step in and say, we'll make it worth your while. We're sorry. Okay, here. And that's it. No one's losing from this, is what I'm saying. I think, and anything except for Unity, really. I mean, they're going to lose something out of this. But developers, if they're smart, can turn this into a boon and basically get better terms, if they're smart.
I think really it'll be interesting to see how things go for Unity, because I know that there are already articles starting to pop up saying that Unity's valuation is going down because of this whole Iron Source deal, and then also the fallout from some of these devs who have gone public saying, yep, fuck this, I'm ditching Unity and I'm going to Unreal, or I'm going to some other engine that works better for my needs or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, and if that truly is what they're going to do, like all to them, I would not be the slightest bit surprised if we come back to this next year and be like, oh yeah, remember what John Riccitello said? Look back at those people who said all those things, and they're still in Unity because they either got better terms or they realized, oh, that's a lot of work. we better not.